Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tracy Nyer, and I'm with the Virginia SBDC. I'll be your facilitator for today's webinar. For those of you who are not familiar, the Virginia SBDC is the largest and most effective provider of customized counseling and education for small businesses in Virginia. Most of our services are offered locally in 29 different locations throughout the Commonwealth. Today's webinar is one of our educational offerings and is part of our ongoing webinar series, Google and Beyond, Marketing and Managing on the Web. This series is designed to take a look at tools and techniques to help small businesses take their business to the next level. Today's topic is LinkedIn for small business. All of our Google and Beyond webinars are presented by Ray Sidney Smith, web and mobile strategist and author of Solo Mo Success, Social Media, Local and Web Small Business Marketing Strategy Explained, and president of W3 Consulting. If you have any questions during this presentation, please type those questions into the question window and Ray will do his best to answer them. Without further ado, here's Ray Sidney Smith.
Thank you, Tracy, and thank you to the Virginia SBDC Network for having me here on the Beyond Google Marketing and Managing on the Web series. So today we will be talking about LinkedIn for small business, and I'm really excited, and Happy New Year to everybody, those of you whom I don't know yet, and those of you whom I have not yet talked to yet in 2016. So just a couple of housekeeping items. If you have questions, this slide makes more sense than any other time, which is to ask them now. I will not have a lot of time for Q&A when we get to the end of this presentation. There's a lot of material to cover, so I'm just going to keep blazing through. I'm going to keep talking until Tracy cuts me off. Just kidding, Tracy. But the the point is that I'm gonna fill up our time. So if you have questions, please put those questions in the question panel and ask Tracy, and she'll go ahead and cut in and find a moment for me to be able to answer. Also, if you don't get your question answered now, I'll have my email address on the final slide. Feel free to email me. I'll be happy to answer those. But of course, you're welcome to tweet at me. I'm a Twitter fan, so go ahead and tweet at W3 Consulting, hashtag it Beyond Google, and I'll be happy to answer those questions out there on the interwebs. As well, feel free to go ahead and follow at Virginia SBDC. That's where they announce these programs, the webinars, and other resources and information for small business throughout Virginia, so feel free to go ahead and follow them at Virginia SBDC. So today, our agenda is really going to be all about LinkedIn for small business and the fundamentals of all of that. You know, 1/3 of the American workforce is on LinkedIn, okay? And it seems as though small business is not engaging with them, and that's a huge opportunity. So my goal for today is really to give an overview of the platform so you understand why LinkedIn and why small business is good for LinkedIn, and we'll go over some of the features. I'm going to actually take us into the platform for most of our time today, walking through LinkedIn and really helping you understand the various functions of it. I'm going to do, mostly showing around some, tutorial as to how to set up the company pages, specifically company and showcase pages, and then talking more marketing and strategy. So I really don't want to make this fully tutorial, but I definitely want it to be interactive. So please feel free to answer those questions as we make our way along. So I'll be talking about those strategies as we make our way through. And like I said, I'm not going to have time at the end for Q&A, so feel free to ask questions and answers. Ask questions now so that we can do that. So let's hop right into it. As I said before, we've got about 119, 120 million users in the United States on LinkedIn, and they are business professionals, obviously working professionals on the platform. And so why use LinkedIn for small business, right? That's the sort of big question for a lot of small business owners that come to my workshops and seminars, and there are all kinds of reasons, but let me just talk about the top 6 or 7 that I think are really important. First and foremost, LinkedIn helps businesses stay connected to their colleagues, staff, vendors, potential investors, and other strategic partners and stakeholders, as well as past, present, and potential customers, the 3 Ps of customers. So, really, LinkedIn is a really great place for you to be able to create those connections and develop the referral engine, the recommendation engine that you need out there on the web for Google, but as well for other platforms like Yelp and TripAdvisor and so on and so forth, to be able to really build up those recommendations. So it's a fantastic tool for that kind of thing. Second is the sharing information and resources opportunities that avail you when you interact and engage on LinkedIn. So you can share information and resources with people interested, which is what we call lead nurturing, in your products or services. You can also go ahead and gather market and competitor intelligence and feedback from your target audience. Really great place to be able to do that kind of intelligence gathering. You can put on your spy cap and go out there and find out new things about what's going on in your market, your industry, and about your customers. You can solicit bids directly from decision makers for new projects or other kinds of things that you're looking for. So by placing these things on your profile, I'll show you in a little while, you'll be able to directly engage with people in order to ask them for new projects and things of that nature. There's no other platform like that in a social sphere, that you're able to just immediately and directly connect with people who are asking you to contact them, giving you permission to contact them for new business. There are many advertising opportunities within LinkedIn, and I'll talk about those as well. But if you're not interested in doing the content and curation process of LinkedIn, which I would say is a really important and probably the most vital part of LinkedIn, you still do have advertising opportunities to really increase and amplify the reach of your content and engagement opportunities on LinkedIn. There's the search engine optimization opportunities on LinkedIn, which is that LinkedIn company pages and their underlying showcase pages, which I'll talk about in a little while, those are visible to Google, and so is part of your LinkedIn profile if you allow that in the privacy settings. So you'll be able to then go ahead and publish really great content, search engine optimized keywords into your company pages and profiles and updates, and those will be exposed to Google and the other search engines so that they can find you and drive traffic to your LinkedIn company page and your business and your services and products. And finally, something we're not going to be talking about at all today, which is finding and hiring qualified job seekers. But there is a huge platform here on LinkedIn, and it's probably what most people think of LinkedIn as, which is sort of HR talent acquisition, on steroids. But the reality is that that part is for, HR consultants and for, the full-day workshops that I teach, not really for us here today. Okay, we're going to be specifically talking about the platform really from its fundamental marketing and branding opportunities here on LinkedIn. So that's really why you would want to be on LinkedIn as a small business owner, for all of these amazing opportunities to really be able to interact and engage with your past, present, and potential customers, okay? So let's just talk about some of the pieces that I'll be talking about today on LinkedIn, and we can go through the various parts, and then I'm going to jump into the platform so that we can actually look at these pieces. But I wanted to just cover the big ticket items since I'm not going to be coming back to my slides till the very end. I want you to just sort of have these items in your mind as we make our way through. So first and foremost, we're going to talk about the profile. The profile is the place where you create your own personal profile on LinkedIn. You must have a LinkedIn user account or profile in order to manage anything else on LinkedIn, okay? Your profile is also how you interact and engage with others, okay? Those are the connections. Connections is a platform. It's sort of a CRM or a customer relationship management light system. So you're capable of interacting and engaging, which I'll show you shortly, in some really fantastic and phenomenal ways with your profile, okay? So it's direct one-to-one or one-to-many engagement with your contacts or connections. And your profile is also how you engage with groups. LinkedIn groups is fairly popular because they are where there are communities of people around specific interests or industries or whatnot. And so you can go into these groups and actually interact and engage with them from that perspective. What is the interest that we're communing about? Let's go ahead and discuss those issues, and I'll talk to you about what you should be doing there so that you're staying top of mind and really working with people for that. Okay, next up are company pages and your company page and showcase pages, okay? So you have one company page and potentially many showcase pages. What does that mean? So going from the profile level up a level, you have your company page where you and your staff or any of your employees will be connected by, that's the company page, okay? And that's how you can encourage and engage Google and the other search engines in drawing more traffic to you. But you can also use your company page to post updates to the world about what's going on with the company, quality content to be able to engage them, and I'll talk about that. And then showcase pages used to be products and services pages, but they've actually changed it now so that there are these things called showcase pages, okay? So what they are is a place for you to be able to put, you know, a sub brand that you might have for the company, and I'm going to actually set one up to show you on my own company. We have, if you have a portfolio, you might want to put a portfolio as a showcase page. If you happen to be a celebrity or a public figure, you would use that showcase page in order to be able to talk about this you or the celebrity or public figure that you're representing on that showcase page, and then you can then submit updates via the showcase page as well. So it's sort of like a sub-company page for a specific audience. So if you have someone in-house who is a public figure or a celebrity, or you yourself want to set yourself up as a thought leader, you can go ahead and create this showcase page underneath the company and then submit updates to that particular page, and that means that some part of your community will be following that showcase page as opposed to the whole community that's following the company page. Okay, so it just allows you to be able to sub-segment. Now there are a couple limitations to all of that, but we'll talk about that as we make our way along, and I'll be happy to answer questions about it. Next up, I'll be talking about Pulse, company updates, and showcase updates. Okay, some of the requirements and some of the sort of strategies that you can use to market yourself and your business via Pulse, which is actually LinkedIn's blogging platform. Okay, so LinkedIn has created their own blogging platform where you're able to blog directly onto LinkedIn inside of Pulse, which is their own sort of publishing network of all of this really great content, and it's actually really well utilized. It's really well search engine optimized and shared far and wide on the social web, okay, so, and on the blogosphere. I'm not going to be touching base too much, but I do want to show people how Sales Navigator works because I think it's one of the most powerful sales tools in LinkedIn, and Sales Navigator is a platform on which you can actually go ahead and do lead nurturing as well as developing sales funnel continuity for and on LinkedIn's platform, sponsored updates, which are very similar to promoted posts on Facebook. So if you know what promoted posts on Facebook, it's sort of the same thing, but it's the idea of broadcasting your updates to people who don't follow you or your company page. Okay, so if you're, I'm sorry, people who don't follow your company page, this has nothing to do with your profile. So when people are following your company page, when you post an update, they will potentially see it as it comes through the LinkedIn stream, the LinkedIn feed. You know, as they're looking at others posting, your company's posts will show up in that feed. However, if you are not, if those people, if someone in your audience, someone who you want to be and to see your sponsored updates is not there, you can then sponsor the update. That is, if you post an update, you can sponsor the update in order for people who are not following your company to go ahead and see it. So you can broaden your reach of your content. Okay. Then there are, of course, LinkedIn ads, and I'm going to show you that in a short while. But the LinkedIn ads, we won't be going over in totality. I just want to touch, you know, a couple little items on it, just to show you what they do, and we'll be moving along from there. Okay. So with that, I'm going to jump us over to the LinkedIn platform itself, just so that you can see a couple of things about LinkedIn. So here is the main page of LinkedIn, and so the first thing you need to do is you need to create a home, you know, an account, okay? And LinkedIn makes it really simple. Most people, once they've logged into LinkedIn, they've created a LinkedIn profile or otherwise, they frequently jump in and just log in, but there's actually a lot of really great stuff located right here on the home page of LinkedIn. So first things first, if you do not have a LinkedIn profile, you must have one in order to be able to access anything else on LinkedIn short of what is public, you know, on the web. Okay, so what you could basically Google and find out on Google is all that you'll be able to see on LinkedIn. So it really behooves you to go ahead and have an account. Okay. The account is pretty simple here. They give you a first name, last name, email, and password. You go ahead and sign up by clicking the Join Now button, and then they'll walk you through an onboarding process which will have you incorporate new data into the system to help people understand who you are and what you're all about. Okay, that's all personal, and I'm going to show you mine just as we make our way through. But actually, if we scroll down to the bottom of the page, we have two columns here that have four different sections total in them. Okay, and I just want to just point out some of them and to really get you aware of what they're all about. Okay, so here what we have is the general section, which allows you to sign up, but also the Help Center. LinkedIn has created a new Help Center, which is actually pretty beautiful, and it helps you find information out. So if you're looking for something, if you're having trouble with it, as I'll tell you in a little while, there's some little quirks with LinkedIn, so you'll have to make sure that you're paying attention to those things. So there's the Help Center. There's the press, so if you wanted to pay attention to anything going on press-related with regard to LinkedIn, you can do that. LinkedIn has their own blog, and they're always putting out really great information. So those are pieces of information that if you're B2B, if you're selling business to business, sometimes these LinkedIn posts are really great content for you to share out to your audience because they might be potentially of interest to them, okay? They have careers and developers at LinkedIn. They themselves are hiring, so we can ignore that stuff. Below that, LinkedIn has these few sections. One's called Updates, Influencers, Jobs, and Mobile. So the updates are actually LinkedIn's updates that they're putting out, again, something to pay attention to. But the other is this place called Influencers, and I'm just going to jump over there for you to see it. So on the LinkedIn Influencers page, it pushes us over to the Discover Pulse page. And this Pulse page is actually all for three different sort of areas of the Pulse network. One is something called influencers. The next is channels and publishers. So the influencers page here, you can see there's a bunch of business and political figures and so on and so forth that you can go ahead and follow. If you click on one of these buttons, it's obviously going to force you to go ahead and log in. And if you don't have a login, then you're going to create a username and password and log in, and then you're able to follow these people. That means their posts will go ahead and show up in your feed as they put them out, okay? So they put their own posts out, you get them, okay? Next one down are called channels, and these channels are for people, for an aggregate of people blogging and posting content within these particular categories, okay? So you can actually follow, if you're in technology, you can just click on follow, and now you're automatically following those people who are the top influencers in that particular field. So you're following multiple people within that channel. And then finally, they just pull in the publishers for very big business and innovation technologies. National Geographic is another, so they have all of these sort of publishers for top global news sources. And so if you click on one of these, again, you follow that news source, and those will now show up in your profile feed, okay? Make sense? So really great for being able to just quickly feed your own updates so that you can stay on top of what is of most importance potentially to you and or your audience for sharing forward. Okay, so those are the general and the browser parts. Business Solutions is really great. I'm going to do that last, but the next one that I wanted to show you is Directories. Directories gives you a wide variety of different places where you can search for data and information. Again, that market and competitor intelligence analysis that you can do. You can go ahead in here for research and analysis. You can go in here and look for members specifically. Again, once you log into this, you're going to see very light data until you have an actual account, and then you can see what people publicly post. You can look for jobs and or seek out people who you need to hire. Pulse, again, that's the blogging network where you can see all the Pulse bloggers. Companies, you can research companies, you can research people and groups that might be of interest to you. You can look for university ties. So if you're an alumnus, you can go ahead and find other alumni and connect with them based on your connection there, and therefore potentially bringing you closer to some other contact or connection that you need within the LinkedIn network so that you can start to engage and create a better relationship with those people that might lead to business. And you can also look for people based on title. So if you're looking for someone who has a specific title, operations manager or CEO or mother, whatever the title is the person puts on LinkedIn, you can go ahead and look for those particular titles. Really powerful tool. Again, once you're logged in, this is really much more useful. Now, business solutions, again, talent acquisition, LinkedIn has a whole area for that, not going to cover that. Marketing and sales, I'm not going to really cover sales right now. I'm going to go into that when we do the Sales Navigator portion, but let's go into marketing.
Ray, before you move on, we did have one question about the influencers page.
Sure.
Who decides who gets in the top influencers page?
Sure. So LinkedIn does. They're the ones who have ultimate control over that, and they find the influencers who are posting valuable content in a particular industry feed, and they're usually people who are already public figures or celebrities. So as you can see on that page, it had Richard Branson and Prime Minister Modi and other people who are just they're already huge names, and they choose those people who become influencers. All right, so on the Business Solutions page, which you can find by going to business.linkedin.com, there's also a smallbusiness.linkedin.com with a whole bunch of resources. So make sure that you head over there and check that out after the webinar. So smallbusiness.linkedin.com and then business.linkedin.com will take you to the Business Solutions page where you can learn about the hiring, marketing, and selling opportunity platforms that are here on LinkedIn. But I just wanted to cover these few items here so that you are aware of them. We're not going to really cover them here inside of our webinar, but I just wanted to touch on some of these bases, like I said, in the final slide that I had. So, sponsored updates. Sponsored updates is where you actually can push notifications out to people who are not in your network from your company page. Okay, so you have content, you want to share that quality content beyond just your network, you can do that with a sponsored update. Okay, once in a while, I think it's about once a quarter, LinkedIn sends out a $50 credit, and those are really great opportunities for you to be able to just use that $50 to be able to basically boost these posts that you're putting out, and then you strategically choose the most important ones. So if you want to try it out, just look for those ones. If you potentially have already received one and you just didn't notice it, go ahead and search your email for your archived email to see if one isn't already in there. They'll give you a little coupon code. You can go ahead and get that $50 free credit. So check out sponsored updates. That also works for display and text ads. So LinkedIn gives you the ability to have display ads. Those are image or video-based ads, and then text ads that you can go ahead and drive traffic from the sidebar and also within the feed, these display ads on LinkedIn so that people can click on them and be taken to either a LinkedIn company page or a specific piece of content or even be taken to your website. Okay? Sponsored in-mail is the idea of sending what would be a sponsored update or a display ad directly into the inbox that lives inside of LinkedIn, and that's called in-mail. So in-mail is LinkedIn's own messaging platform or communication platform, and so you can actually send sponsored in-mail, basically sending to your target audience, remember these are people not connected to you, directly to their inboxes, and then of course hopefully calling them to action so that they'll be able to bounce out of their in-mail and come to you in some way, shape, or form. Okay? And then last but not least is a product that LinkedIn has called Lead Accelerator, and it's a much more robust lead generation tool, a whole platform solution for being able to do that. It helps you to take all the parts of what I just talked about and put them together and help lead people from top of the funnel to the bottom of the funnel on their way to buying from you. So it's a really, really sophisticated tool. I think that most small businesses don't utilize this, which is why I'm going to talk about Sales Navigator more. But it's there. It's I believe a little bit pricey, but that's conjecture. All right. So those are the marketing tools there on LinkedIn, and so they exist. Okay. So what I want to do now
Ray,
is.
quick question.
Do you have another question?
Yep. On the $50
Sure.
coupon, it seems to be only if you haven't used sponsored updates before. Can and how do you use it if you've already done a few sponsored updates?
Yeah, sure. So it is just to test out. You cannot. So if you have not used them before, then that's their prompt to get you to use it. So if you haven't, you're not going to be able to use it again. It's the same thing with Google AdWords. They'll send you those initial sort of try it out now. Once in a while, they'll send additional credits to prompt you to use it again. But I would try, if they send you a coupon, they know who you are. So I would try it again. If for some reason they've sent you a coupon, this is the same with LinkedIn and or Google, and for some reason it's not working or telling you that you're ineligible, it is helpful to actually contact customer support and ask them whether or not there's a problem, and as to why it's not working. And once in a while, at least with some of our clients, we've found that they'll just, go ahead and approve or give you another code to go ahead and test it out. So, they send them once a quarter to anyone who hasn't yet used them, and then, once you start using it, then they likely won't send you very many more. But if they do send you one and it doesn't work, go ahead and contact customer service, because they are usually pretty prompt, and they do try to help you with those issues. Okay. All right. So I'm going to hop over to my LinkedIn profile here, and we can start out with just a couple of the quirks and just sort of the main navigation of LinkedIn. So as you can see, LinkedIn, when you log into it, again, you have to have a username and password. You go ahead and log in. You can note that it's pretty busy. I don't particularly like the overview of this. I just feel like there's too much going on. And of course, there are mobile apps for LinkedIn, both the LinkedIn app for Android and iOS, and I believe there's a BlackBerry app and a Windows app, but don't quote me on that. But they have the mobile apps, tablet, obviously apps as well, and each of the interfaces are very different. And so I just think this is a really busy platform, but either way, I'll show you what this is all about and where things really happen. So across the main navigation here, you have the LinkedIn logo at the top left-hand corner, and I'm just going to increase the size here so that you can hopefully see it a little bit better. No, it's not increasing. I'm clicking increase, but there it goes. Okay, so hopefully you can see it just a little bit better. Seems like my increase and decrease are delayed. Okay, so you have home in the top left-hand corner. You can click on the logo and or the home page. Okay, to the right of that is the profile. That's where I'm at. I'm sorry. This is where you can be taken to edit your profile, see who's viewed you in your updates, and we'll talk about that shortly. There's My Network. My Network is actually where connections exists, and it's basically where your contact records are, but it's also where that little CRM tool is. I'm going to show you that in a moment. Jobs, again, like I said, that's where you can go ahead and post jobs and so on and so forth. And I think that starts out at like $295 or $395 and works its way up in terms of the length of time that the post is out there and other things like that. But they have a guarantee of 10 qualified applicants per job post, so it's definitely a better deal than Craigslist if you're looking to not have to weed out hundreds and hundreds of applicants that are not potentially qualified for your position posted. So jobs is a pretty cool tool, the whole hiring solutions there. And then interests. And interests is where you can see companies, groups, Pulse. There's an education slideshare and online learning platforms within here, but I'm really only going to be talking about companies, groups, and Pulse. Okay? As we move our way to the right of the home page and the docking bar, right above that is the search field. Okay, search has a drop-down menu. You can basically do quick searches of different areas. People is obviously the connections part, so you can search for people. These are people who are connected to you or not connected to you. Okay, so you can look for potential new connections and or current connections. You can look for jobs. You can look for companies, groups, universities, LinkedIn posts, basically posts that are across LinkedIn that you have access to, meaning that someone has shared it with you as a network connection, everyone on LinkedIn, or public, okay? So people can share on different levels. And then, of course, you can search your own inbox, okay? Now, you can notice one of the first quirks here. Up here in the top right-hand corner are the little icons that show you messages, notifications, and the number of people who are and have requested connection requests. And you can see I have a bunch that are just sitting there. Then up in the top right-hand corner is the drop-down. But you can see this 7 messages here. I've actually read all of my messages. LinkedIn just seems to keep telling me that I have 7 unread messages that don't exist in my inbox. So do not fret if that kind of thing happens. It's just part of the norm here on LinkedIn. One of the big issues with LinkedIn that I recently came across is that there's a 30,000 person connection limit on LinkedIn. So you can't have more than 30,000 connections. And it turns out there are some workarounds around that and other kinds of things. But the point is that there are some people who have 50,000 plus connections. That came before the policy was instituted. And some people can receive LinkedIn connections and accept them, or they can send requests, and it's all kinds of craziness. But there's lots of talk about some of the quirks about LinkedIn. Don't get too flummoxed by some of those. It's a quirky platform, so that's what it is, okay? So anyway, here in the search mechanism, you can go ahead and type in searches, and you can do very, very specific kinds of searches, and what I'm going to do is just show you the advanced page so you can see what some of those are, okay? So when we go to the advanced link next to search, this really allows us to be able to unlock looking for the people on LinkedIn that might be of real importance to us. Okay, so we can go ahead and search by first connections, second connections, third connections, and so on and so forth. What does that mean? So first degree connection is someone that you're directly connected with. Secondary connection is someone who is a friend of a friend, if you want to use the Facebook terms, right? Third degree connections are friends of friends of friends, and then there's everybody else, okay? So you can really get invited through friends, friends of friends, and friends of friends of friends, okay? And so LinkedIn allows you to be able to do that, and it's really powerful to be able to connect with certain people so that they can make those introductions to you, okay? So here, what we can do is we can use any of these advanced search functions, so I can click on, say, companies, and go ahead and filter on LinkedIn to just those particular items. Okay, so here you can see that there's 8 million results. Obviously, I'm not going to be able to connect or follow all 8 million results, so I'm going to say all the ones that are here in the United States. Then that gives me a list of only 1 million results. And what you do is on the left-hand side panel here, you just keep going ahead and filtering down until you find what you want. Now, the really important part here is that LinkedIn gives you the ability to go ahead and save these searches, okay? And so you can go ahead and save searches. If you don't have a premium account, so this is a free account, then premium account kind of concept, and then you have other types of services here. So you can see that I have the Sales Navigator, account, and I forget what that means in terms of my status level, but there's LinkedIn Premium and Sales Navigator. I think this is one above Premium, and so I can go ahead and do certain things that other people can. I can directly in-mail message people that are not in my network, and I think I have up to 12 of those a month that I can do, things of that nature. But I think you can have 3 saved searches on LinkedIn, and that means that these kinds of searches, if you're looking for people who you want to regularly connect with that are potential customers, potential partners, potential trusted referral partners, those kinds of things, you can go ahead and save those searches so that you just have those on hand, and they show up in the drop-down menu down here, okay? So you can see that I don't have any current saved searches. So when I drop down, it'll show me recent searches, which I just cleared, but then you can go ahead and drop down and click on those saved searches. So go ahead and save the searches here. Now, if you run out of saved searches, all you have to do is go up here to your bar, your URL bar, and bookmark your search up here. That's it. Just bookmark that search and create a folder in your browser bar, and that will allow you to go ahead and do that. I'm actually going to remove this browser bar so we have more space on screen. But you can go ahead and save to your browser bar a folder just called LinkedIn or LinkedIn searches, and go ahead and save these searches to that. You can do that by just on a PC, you go ahead and click on Control-D. On a Mac, you can click Command-D, and in those browsers, you'll go ahead and be able to save those searches into there. So, set up those searches, look for exactly who you're looking for, save the searches, and keep them ready for you, okay? So back out to the profile section. So on the profile section, you can go ahead and see some basic information about who's following you and what's going on. Actually, I jumped ship a little early. I'm going to go back to the home page. So on the home page, you can see that there is a couple of main dashboard areas for being able to interact and engage on LinkedIn. All right. So the main part is here. LinkedIn will show you a little area on the top right-hand corner. That's sort of where they give you updates of who's gotten new promotions, who's had an anniversary, new jobs, birthdays, those kinds of things. All sort of show up on this in this section here, and you can go ahead and skip or contact them and all those kinds of fun things. In the top left-hand corner here, LinkedIn attempts to put you where you need to go and give you some basic information. So here they want to send me to my Sales Navigator so I can start the Sales Navigator product. Here you can see that there's 12 people that have viewed my profile in the past 3 days and 52 people who have reviewed my most recent update. Okay, so you can see some basic stats here, and if you want to see more, you just scroll down on the right-hand side of LinkedIn and well, it doesn't show you here actually. You have to click on this here. It's on the company page that it does that. But you can click on this, and it'll give you some more, data about who's visited you and all that other fun stuff. Okay. Next up is engaging directly on the LinkedIn platform. So I just want to cover some really important facts about engaging on LinkedIn, all right? So when you're engaging on LinkedIn, it's your goal of your personal profile to become an influencer for your community, all right? The people you connect with are the people with whom you want to really build that community and nurture them so that they will be and keep you top of mind and refer you business when necessary, all right? I call what this sort of strategy is the ABCs of LinkedIn, okay? And the ABCs of LinkedIn are always be connecting, always be complimenting, and always be communicating, all right? And I want to just go through some of these as we make our way through, and we'll go back to the profile and other things as well, okay? So the always be connecting is really the idea of watching first, second, and third degree connections for opportunities to connect and engage directly. What does that mean? Well, when someone is posting something about someone else that they know or seeing what other people are doing, you want to go ahead and see what opportunities you have to engage with those particular people. You might want to comment on them. You might want to keep some saved searches. And if they're a second or third degree connection and you want to be closer to them, then that's your opportunity to look to see who is connected with you through the system and then to make those opportunities come to life. Let's take an example. Let's say David Allen. David Allen is the author of Getting Things Done, and I'm a huge fan of the work. Obviously, it's part of my everyday life. And so you can see here, I'm a second degree connection with David Allen, okay? And so you can see that I'm a second degree connection, and what it does is on the right-hand side panel here, it shows me who is connected to David Allen directly. Okay, and so you can see I'm a secondary connection because my colleague Nancy Locascio, who's a David Allen coach, she's one of the senior coaches there at David Allen, she is connected to obviously David. So if I wanted to, I could get introduced to him by clicking on the Get Introduced through Nancy. So I'm going to write a message to Nancy and I'm going to say, hey Nancy, I really would like to be connected with David Allen. Could you make that connection so that we can connect here on LinkedIn? Okay, so it's a really powerful tool to be able to make that happen. What you want to do is you want to make sure that the person with whom you are trying to get introduced knows the value of why you're actually trying to be, connected. The person who you're asking to make the introduction, make sure they know the value of why you're trying to be connected, and that way they're all very comfortable with making that connection pretty quick and seamless. At that point, when you're connected one-to-one with that person, you can now in-mail message them directly without any issue. Okay? So that's sort of how that works. Next up is making sure that you categorize your connections. And this is where under the My Network Connections part comes into play. Okay? So I'm going to hop over there. And here under Connections, you can see that LinkedIn has purchased a company that now is a part of the LinkedIn platform that is basically like a customer relationship management light system. And it allows you to do a whole bunch of things. I'm just going to cover ever so briefly some of the concepts and then move on. But so I'm going to take this first person who I've recently contacted with, but you can see that this is Joan Richardson, and she and I are connected on LinkedIn. We've exchanged messages via my email system, which is Google Apps for work, so I've had a connection with her, and I can see that she's also connected on my contacts on my phone, okay? And you can see I've last communicated with her nine days ago. You can see her title and so on and so forth, and if I click on more, it gives me the opportunity to hide or remove this connection, so you can delete her and so on and so forth. But if I want more information or want to communicate with her more clearly, more closely, I can then click on her name and be taken to her contact record. Now here you can see that on her contact record, if I scroll down, this is where the little customer relationship management tools are. You can make private notes about what you've communicated with this person in the last couple of, interactions or the last interaction that you have, say you call her on the phone. What I like to do is I call a person on the phone, and then I pull up, in my case, I use Google for my contact management and my contact relationship management, so my CRM is in Google, but here in LinkedIn, they've given you the tools to be able to do that. You can basically pull up LinkedIn, make a note here, talked to Joan about X or Y, right? And then click on Save, and now this information is saved. Again, it is private. It is not communicated or shown to that person. The other part is you can tag this person as who they are. So I've created this list of people who are basically categorizing people in my system, and I've gone ahead and do that. I think you can have up to 200 tags in LinkedIn, and you can see these people are various. These are basically different ways to slice up my life, right? So I can say, oh, you know what? She is a colleague of mine, and I know her through a particular group, and she's also a partner or a trusted referral partner. And now I've tagged her for those things. I can save them, and now in the future, I could go ahead and uh, I can go ahead and search based on those tags, collect together all the people who are, say, colleagues, and send a message directly to that group of people inside of InMail, inside of LinkedIn, okay? So it's a pretty powerful tool to be able to tag. I don't know what that little error was, so we'll ignore it, but we can see that. Also, say that I want to keep in touch with Joan. I'm going to delete this so it doesn't stay in the system here. But say I wanted to keep in touch with Joan. She was a potential customer, and she indicated some interest in utilizing my services, and so I want to just keep in touch with her, keep me top of mind for her as we make our way through. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a reminder so that I'm able to follow up with her in a day. Say she asks me to follow up with her tomorrow. I'll say, okay, cool, and I say, okay, follow up with Joan about X or Y, okay? And now I click on Save, and when I log back into LinkedIn tomorrow, and it only shows you updates in LinkedIn or in the LinkedIn app, remember, so this is not going to send you an email or push a notification elsewhere. You're just going to have to log into LinkedIn for it to remind you, so you have to be in LinkedIn every day for this to work. But the point is that it will now remind me tomorrow morning. There'll be a notification, hey, you need to follow up with Joan about X or Y, okay? Now, say that you want to create a recurring one. Say every 3 months I want to send a note to Joan with maybe something of quality content or something that I've learned that's of interest in her industry or that's value to her, or just, hey, let's go have lunch, okay? There's nothing more important than making these digital connections on LinkedIn in real life connections, okay? Really taking this online to offline is the most powerful way that you'll be able to engage and use the LinkedIn platform, okay? So anyway, you can create these reminders, really, really powerful. You can see the contact information and go ahead and download that information and share it and all those other fun things, all from within the platform. So it's a really cool tool. Take advantage of it, okay?
Ray,
So that's the...
can the
Yeah.
tags that come with your data be exported as part of the
CSV, yes.
CSV file?
It is exported as part of the CSV file, but it's its own custom tag. So whatever system you're exporting it to needs to be able to give you the option to customize the field imports. But it should come along with all that data. Okay, so that's connections. You can add contacts. You can see people you know and find alumni all within the member part. So that is under Always Be Connecting. The next part is LinkedIn groups under Always Be Connecting, and so you find that under interests. So if we take interests down to groups, I'm running out of time, so I want to make sure I cover some of these things. I'm just going to go ever so quickly. So in groups, the groups are basically, as I said, interests. So think of Facebook groups, but for professional purposes. I don't really interact in a lot of Facebook groups that are professional. It's just not where I interact professionally. So I interact on Facebook with friends and family and pretty much don't interact with anybody else on Facebook. So no offense if you send me a Facebook friend request, I'm not going to accept it unless we're actually friends. Go figure. So on LinkedIn, it's my place for being able to connect with people so that I can say, okay, this is a business acquaintance. I'll connect with them, sure. Okay? So when you send a LinkedIn request, just give people context for why you want to connect with them. Hey, we met at such and such, or I'd really like to meet you, and I'd love to connect so that we can do that. All right, it doesn't take a lot to make someone connect, but it certainly has to show value for why you're going to do it. Groups give you a couple of powers, some superpowers on LinkedIn that you otherwise won't have in the LinkedIn platform generally. So in groups, you can have conversations with people. There is something called SWAM, which is the an automated moderation. Okay, so this happens when you start to, it's basically spam moderated automated processing for things, and so you don't want to get moderated for posting spammy content on LinkedIn. So this is how it works. If you post spammy content in a LinkedIn group and someone tags it and then someone else tags it, and I think it only takes 2 people tagging, maybe 3. Either way, if there's enough people who say this might be spammy content, you get automatically moderated for everything you post in LinkedIn groups, and it's basically 1 week for 1 to 2 weeks. LinkedIn says 1 to 2 weeks, but 1 to 2 weeks of penalty of being moderated, meaning that the LinkedIn group moderator must allow and approve through any messages that you send. Okay? So it's not worth posting spammy content, because every time you do it, then that moderator may, start having to moderate your stuff. And if I'm a moderator and I don't, look at the moderated, posts every day, or maybe once a week, or maybe even once a month, your post is never going to get out there in a timely fashion, or may never get out there. Okay? So don't post spammy content and you'll be okay. I say focus on no more than 3 groups at a time, and make sure that you are focusing on problem solving for your group members and utilizing the mutual membership, meaning that when you are inside a group with someone, you're capable of actually directly messaging them, that you are not allowed to do when you're outside of a LinkedIn group. So joining really LinkedIn groups where your audience is going to be really powerful for being able to find a group that you're both mutually in so that you can directly message them in mail. Okay? So if I look in the Staples Small Business Network here, I can log into this group, and now I'm in the group, and now these people that I'm a member with, and you can see all the members here, there are 140,000 members. Well, now I can directly communicate with those people. Okay? See this little icon now? I could directly message these people because I'm a co-member. I'm also a member of the group with them. I would not be able to do this if it was just a person who was just a LinkedIn member who I was not connected to. Really, really powerful. Okay? So that's the value of groups. Problem solve, look for conversations where you can problem solve, and go ahead and do that. Okay. Next up is always be complimenting. Okay, so as you read through your updates here, your feed on LinkedIn, you want to make sure that if you see something that you really like, you just scroll through and you see that your friend wrote something, thanks, for the great post. Compliment them on what's going on, and go ahead and letting them know that you're grateful for them. That's not the only time that you should show gratitude. You should show gratitude for any time a piece of content or an update is useful, pulse posts that are useful, and also in real life help. So what we call IRL help, right? So in real life is that you had a meeting with someone, or you were at a business event and somebody went and gave you coffee, brought you a Danish, saved a seat for you. Those are really great opportunities to post an update on LinkedIn and say, hey, so and so, because you can actually mention the person in a post on LinkedIn. So I want to share an update. I can go ahead and mention someone. So I'm going to pick on Joan again, but I can say Joan. Whoops, where was Joan? I just saw her. I can go ahead and select Joan. Now she's tagged in the message, and I can say, thanks for connecting last week. It's just a really great way to be able to thank people publicly, giving public recognition and honor. You could do that with staff members as well, posting thank you messages for staff. It just builds goodwill, and it's a really nice thing to do on LinkedIn. So lots of thanks, lots of gratitude. I think always be complimenting is another one of those vital ABCs of LinkedIn. Okay. Then strategically email or in-mail message people to ask for recommendations. You used to be able to have an automated tool to ask for recommendations within LinkedIn, and you can go ahead and you could go ahead and do that. Now you cannot, so you have to go ahead and actually send an email or in-mail message to ask people for recommendations. And that takes me to the profile, just so I can quickly go over the profile with you. So on the profile, you have this really cool part that takes you through, and this is my profile and the profile you see if you're connected with me, but you can see down here an area for, let's go scroll, area for recommendations. And you can see under each company, there are people who have recommended me, which is great. And so, oh, there is the function to ask to be recommended. I thought they took that out. Anyway, use that tool to ask to be recommended. If you don't have that tool, it may not be in yours. It may be in yours. You know, that's the quirkiness of LinkedIn. But if you have that tool, you can go ahead and ask people to be recommended to you. So if the person's connected with you, you can choose to go ahead and do that, and based on what company or otherwise you're at. Okay. So really cool tool to be able to do that. You can edit your profile, and that allows you to be able to publish notes or publish things. I've turned it off. I don't like to update everybody every time I've made a change to my profile, but the profile is really cool because it gives you the ability to add a background image. Whoops. Hold on a second. What just happened? Bear with me. It gives you the ability to go ahead and add a background photo, and it gives you the ability to add education, honors and reward, and test scores that you might have had. You can go ahead and write a little summary for people, and otherwise, you know, I've basically added some of the webinars that I've done here into my profile so people can see that, and you can see the recommendations that are here. You can describe the company and your job experience. Really, just it gives you a lot of really great things. It can show you your certifications. So I put in my Google certifications. I'm an Evernote Business Certified Consultant, so I put that in there. My volunteer experience, you know, I'm a Hootsuite brand ambassador. All of these things allow you to be able to do that all here in the profile. So fill out your profile fully so that people know what you're all about once they're connected with you, okay? You have the ability to publish and or make private certain parts of your profile. So if someone finds you on Google, these things may or may not show up. So for example, I've made most of my profile private, and I don't publish a lot of stuff about myself on LinkedIn, but I just fill in the basic information so that it's there so people know what I'm all about, okay? And so if they want to know more about me, they're just going to have to meet me in real life and learn. And if they have a problem with that, then we're probably not pretty good. You know, we're not going to be good connections anyway. We're not going to have a good relationship if they're not willing to meet with me and get to know me. So that's the profile. And so finally, the last part of always of the ABCs of LinkedIn, which is always be connecting, okay? And always be connecting means that you're going to create quality content through sharing updates, uploading photos, and publishing posts to Pulse, okay? Pulse, again, is the LinkedIn blogging platform. You can share updates. You just type whatever you'd like in here, and you can add photos to an update, or you can just post photos, but you can post a photo to an update, so it really doesn't matter. And you can share that with public, just your connections, or you can share to the public and share to a social network like LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter, okay? I'm sorry, to Facebook or Twitter from here, okay? So I've chosen that every time I post a public post, it also shares it to Twitter, to my personal Twitter profile. So it shares it out to folks so that they can see it, all right? So the idea here is that you want to create quality content, updates that you're sharing, and original content from your website or blog, and also Pulse posts, okay? You want to comment on established experts, competitors, and industry organizations posts. So you want to go out there and follow people and then comment and post on theirs, and make sure that you're curating content from other sources, including Pulse and other places where you've commented, okay? So if you have a blog that you have been on and you've commented on it, share the post that you commented on in LinkedIn, and now you've hit people twice, right? They get the piece of curated content, now they go to the blog post to read it, and lo and behold, there you are again. You've commented on it and provided value, and now you've really excited the person about what's going on, okay? So those are the three ABCs of LinkedIn. Always be connecting, always be communicating, always be complimenting.
Ray, if you share with the public, do the messages automatically go out to your contacts?
So if you share with public, they will show up in the feed to all of your contacts also, yes. Okay, so in the last couple of minutes, I just want to show you quickly the company pages, and then we're going to close up. And so we're going to go through companies. So on LinkedIn, your profile lists your company, and you should just make sure that your company has all of the staff. So in this particular case, we'll use W3 Consulting. This here is linked to my company, and we know it's linked to my company because my logo is showing, okay? If your logo is not showing here or it's not showing for any of your staff, it's not connected, okay? So you connect it by first creating a company, and I'm just going to hop over to the company page for us to do that. So this is the W3 Consulting company page. You can see this is where we have all of our updates going out, all right? So now this is the view that I see on my side so that I'm able to go ahead and post. You can see just by hopping over here what the public image looks like. So on the public side, you can see that there's just, it tells you about the company, what we do, shows a logo, shows a little, a header file that's, a sort of an image to tell people sort of what you're all about, a description of the business, specialties, which are basically keywords for Google, and then a link to your website, our headquarters located, how many employees, what it's all about, and then recent updates. And this is where your updates go. So again, always be communicating. This is where you're going to publish recent updates for the company out to your followers, okay? Now the difference between posting to your company and posting to your profile is that the company pages will give you analytics, whereas sharing updates via your personal profile doesn't give you this analytics tab, okay? So you're not going to be able to see all those analytics as well, okay? So underneath that, you have the admin center, which gives you the ability to go ahead and drive engagement through posting updates, but you can also do all these other things: sponsor updates, post a job, create a company page tour. You can take the company page tour so you can see what this is all about, and all these other fun things. You can also create showcase pages, and I don't think I have time for this. Well, maybe I can. I do. Okay, so let's just quickly do this. This is setting up a showcase page is almost the same thing as setting up a company page, so I wanted to do it so you could sort of see what it's all about.
Ray, can you back up for a second?
Yes.
I'm sorry, you didn't show how to
Sure.
create the company page. You went straight into
Right.
yours, but not how to get to create one.
Correct, because I'm going to create it through the showcase page.
Okay.
I'm going to show people how to do that
Okay.
here. So on your company pages, let's go back actually. Let's see here. Here under the page itself, you're going to create a showcase page. So let me take you back. On the home page, oh no, I'm sorry, go to interests, and then on the drop down you're going to see companies. So interests, companies, which is just linkedin.com/company. Right here on the right-hand side panel, you're going to click on create page, all right? That's really the only difference. So you're going to click create page from here, and now once you're on the page, so I'm going to go back to my page, so just go to interest, companies, and then click on that yellow create button. And that's the only difference between creating a company page and a showcase page. So to create the showcase page, we go ahead to create a showcase page, and we click on that. All right, here on the showcase page, it tells you a little bit about what showcase pages are, as I explained at the top of the webinar. And then it asks you to give a name for the showcase page. Now remember, once you create the URL, which is basically, you see up here, linkedin.com/company/W3-consulting-inc, well, that's its static URL forever. You cannot change that, okay? You can change the name that appears here once you create the page, okay? So you can change these words, but what it's going to do is it's going to create a page called linkedin.com/company/W3-consulting/W3C web services, okay? So make sure that whatever you want it to be, make that your first one first. So you might want to make this more keyword rich before you create the other ones. So you might want to put keywords in here and then go back and change this later. So I'm just going to create this as W3C Web Services, and I'm going to add an administrator, which is basically going to be myself. I'm already an administrator. You do actually want to add multiple administrators here so that you have other people doing that. But let's just go ahead and create this really, really quickly. So I've gone ahead and clicked on that. You can see that now I have a showcase page. It's not published yet. I can edit it and do everything I want, and before it's edited, I've created an image for the header file, for what we call the hero image. And so I'm going to go ahead and find the hero image. There goes the hero image for it. And this has to be 974 by 330 in size. And the really big difference between showcase pages and Facebook pages is that you can put text, calls to action, and other kinds of things here in the showcase page. So take advantage of it. You know, contact us now with a phone number or an email address and other kinds of things. So you can see here that's going to be your hero image that's going to show up at the top. Here you can provide a description. You're really only given a short amount of characters. This says 75 characters minimum with a 200 character maximum. So I've gone ahead and created some basic text here just to throw in. So that's 200 characters exactly. You can see 0 out of 200 characters. And I've gone ahead and, whoops, I'm having real trouble with the with these short links. Okay, you can add a link to go to. So I'm going to type in a link to go to our web services page. You can choose an industry. Okay, do not choose accounting if you're not an accountant, but like most people choose accounting because it's the first selection down, but it's really silly. Choose the category that fits you. Unfortunately, these categories are not the best, so you just have to sort of pick the best one that fits you, okay? And go ahead and do that. You can then choose to publish. Oh, it says there's a field I didn't complete. Oh, company logo, that's right. So the company logo should be uploaded. See, it says 300 by 300 here. You should really upload it as 400 by 400, okay? So go ahead and upload the image. I'm just going to do that really quickly so you can see. And now note that I created an image that wasn't the company logo. The reason for that is that it's going to show the company logo wherever the company is, and we want these showcase pages to be a little bit different, okay? So I've done that. I've uploaded everything, and now I'm going to click publish. That's pretty much it. Now you can publish images. You can see this is the showcase page. It shows up underneath my company, and now I can post things about our hosting services and our email services and WordPress stuff all here on the showcase page, okay? So I hope that was a good overview of some of the really important aspects of LinkedIn. As I said, I'm putting up my slide with my email contact information. Feel free to email me. Tracy, if you want to close out the webinar, and then I'm happy to stay on and answer any other questions.
Okay, I was just going to say I'm going to close out the webinar, and then we can answer some questions because there are quite a few of them, and I know that we went through the pages piece pretty quickly. So anyways, thanks everyone for participating today. Today's webinar was recorded and it'll be posted on the Virginia SBDC website under live webinars and recordings. Tomorrow you'll be receiving a follow-up email on the webinar and there'll be an evaluation link in there. Please help us to continue to improve our training by taking the time to complete the evaluation. If you want to fill out the evaluation now, I just posted it in the chat field, and we will see you all on February 11th for how to power your communications with Google. Okay, so I do have a couple of questions. I'm going to start with one that was where you were talking about creating one part more keyword rich than the other in the showcase pages. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
So on the showcase pages, you're only given 200 characters, minimum 75, maximum 200 characters. On your company pages, you're given 2,000 characters to describe your company and an area called specialties where you can actually add keywords that are honing you basically for Google. So you're limited in how you can actually keyword index, but it actually helps you focus. So the idea is that your company page should have a wide variety of specialties, basically keywords, that are listed there on that page, and there's a field for that. On the showcase pages, it's really up to your updates because your showcase description is going to give you that 200 characters. So, in my case, I added a bunch of, keywords into that really short description, like WordPress, email hosting, domains, and that kind of thing. And that's going to help people know what that's all about. The W3 Web Services provides that. Great. But the updates are where you're going to really be able to search engine optimize by adding keywords in those updates that you're showcasing on your showcase page.
Okay. Is this a good platform for faith-based nonprofit companies?
So it's good for any company for a wide variety of reasons. If you're a faith-based organization, you just need to know whether or not your demographic exists on there. And one of the things I didn't get to cover was LinkedIn ads. Well, in the LinkedIn ads, you're capable of actually looking for various types of keywords that people might be posting. So if you find people who are posting about their particular faith and that matches your faith-based organization's mission, well, there you go. You've added 2 and 2 together. So you just have to look in the system to see where they are. So LinkedIn ads is one place where you can look. Also, just look in the search functionality. Look at, that top field that I showed you. Go in there and search and look what people are writing about. See if there are other faith-based organizations out there that are similar to yours, and are they communicating with people? Those people who follow those people are probably people who should follow you as well, and you should engage with them.
So one of the questions we have is, can we please elaborate on search engine optimization piece and how can we do it? Can we target specific audiences? And then the second was that it was not really a question, but a comment that not enough time was spent on setting up company pages and how to interact with the personal pages and how it does it. And I'm thinking maybe, Ray, we might think about a second presentation.
Yeah, I'd be happy. I'd be happy to. When I did this in my closed environment, I breezed through this material without a problem, and for some reason this time it took a little bit longer. So I apologize. So search engine optimization for the LinkedIn company pages is, as I said before, all about honing the specialties. Okay, for the company page, which is going to be a wider mix of keyword optimization, right? You're going to have for your larger audience. If you're trying to hone in for very specific audiences, you're going to create many showcase pages. Those are going to be for specific audiences, for specific sub-brands, products, services, those kinds of things, okay? You can only create 2 showcase pages per day, so you're limited, 2 per day, 2 per week, something like that. But you're limited in the number you can make in a period of time. I believe it's 2 per day. So you don't want to really, you'd have to wait to create showcase pages, but you shouldn't have to make that many. You should have only so many products and services. So you're going to go ahead and create those, and it's through creating those showcase pages that you can then really be hyper-targeted for Google and the other search engines, where you can create really specific things, because you're only given 200 characters to optimize that page. Those need to be very specific keywords for that particular product, page, public figure, what have you.
And then the final question, does LinkedIn take the place of a website for a small company?
Absolutely not. So, it's really great to have sort of this micro website that LinkedIn has given you. They've given you someplace like that, but this is really like leasing an apartment versus owning your own home. LinkedIn is a dynamic platform. All social media platforms must move with the cheese. Okay, so if they decide to change something, move something around, it could adversely affect your business and your marketing platform drastically overnight, okay, within minutes. I mean, they could just change something and you disappear. So you cannot fully depend upon one platform for doing this. You diversify by using multiple social media, not too many, but enough, but also having your own website so that you're capable of creating your own content, controlling your own branding, and the customer experience people have when they come and see your business. So you really do want to have your own website. You can't do a lot of things, on LinkedIn's platform that you would otherwise be able to do on your own website, like having an email sign-up form, being able to have downloadable assets directly from your website, having a contact page and location page and all those other things. You really do need to have your own website for managing and tracking those kinds of things. I mean, even testimonials are not really possible on the company pages or showcase pages. That's something that you would want to have available to you on your own website. So no, you need a website in addition to your LinkedIn company page.
Okay, I'm going to cut this off at this last one. Can you point us in the right direction to learn about Sales Navigator?
Sure. So LinkedIn themselves has a sales team dedicated to it. Sales Navigator is not cheap. It's about $65 a month if you buy it on an annual basis. I think it's $70-something if you buy it on a monthly basis or billed monthly. And but they have a 30-day free trial, so you can try it out. And so if we do another webinar on setting up the company pages and showcase pages, as well as going through the LinkedIn ad system and maybe Sales Navigator, we'll go ahead and show you how to do that. But LinkedIn themselves has a sales team with a great feature tour and some videos that will show you how to utilize it. So you can do that as well. Lynda.com, which is actually owned by LinkedIn. Lynda.com is a platform where you can take video courses, and they have, I think it's called Up and Running with LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and it's a full course on how to actually use Sales Navigator. So if you want to get a free trial or put out the money for the lynda.com subscription, you can go ahead and do that and watch the LinkedIn Sales Navigator up and running with LinkedIn Sales Navigator. I think is it Brian Batesall or somebody, Brendan Batesall, I think, does that particular course.
Great. Ray, thank you so much for your time today, and we'll see everyone
You're welcome.
in 2 weeks. Thank you.